Pasadena, not at the Huntington, but as a furniture store. There was a gentleman who had Oriental antiquities, and he wanted a really nice way of displaying them. So he had this house built. He brought it over here, and he had about a 3-acre plot of ground, and he had the house installed there. And what he did is he charged people. He charged people a nickel or a dime. We're talking about like 1908 or 9, to come through his house because he had this wonderful little garden in the back that had koi and had little bridges, and it had a lot of statuary, and they would serve tea out there. So when you think about it, 1908 or 9, it's sort of like Knott's Berry Farm of the era, you know. Well, what do? I mean, you didn't have television, or people didn't have a lot of cars, and Pasadena was kind of the sticks, so this was, you know, this is the house.
I know, but at the kitchen
these rooms, you know, the one thing about a Japanese house is multifaceted, because those big doors slide back and forth, and you could, like, here if you have your futon at night, you can, in the daytime, you just fold it up, put it in the closets, and then the room can be used for something else. And so all the rooms had, and in fact, nobody's ever quite come up with a clear thing as to maybe the kitchen was outside and in another little, you know, because you had that big thing called fires that were such a danger, and also keeping the smell out of the house. You know, like they did in the colonial times. They used to have the kitchens out, you know, in another room. And for any of you who watched the movie Memoirs of a Geisha, this was where she was visiting the Baron's estate. Now, the one thing that we have here, don't have here, that you saw in the movie, and when you see it again, is down there you see that Japanese maple. Right in front of it, the movie people put a false tree in. They dug a hole and put this phony tree in, and they hand-tied silk cherry blossoms all over it. So when she's walking through this garden and her parasol is brushing these cherry blossoms, that is what isn't here. But everything else you will, you'll see it. So they told us at a meeting we had, they said, well, the movie people told our liaison person that it cost $100,000 is the budget for that one tree. So I had to go back and look at the movie again to make sure, you know, I was and then I looked at the size of the tree and all the cherry blossoms. I said, yeah, that's probably cost $100,000. But anyway, you. Closer, you can see the leaves of the hydrangea are shaped like an oak tree leaf. And they're very, you know, hydrangeas like to be in sort of the shade, a shady thing. And I am not a Chinese garden medicine, but I'm going to tell you what I know, because if you go in there and if you want to stay behind you, if you find somebody that has a tag that says "Ask me," they know all about it. But in this, the building of this garden, the first thing we brought on one of the things was 800 tons of rock. And this rock all came from Lake Clyde, in China. And it was brought over here by rushing through, so that you have to kind of take your time and enjoy what you see. The windows,
there's a pond in the middle.
Everyone is supposed to have a view. If you stand and look through any of these, there's supposed to be a view on the other side. And they're not actually rectangular square. They're a little bit always a little bit off. Banana palm. I think this is called, one of the names for it maybe is the Scholar's Courtyard, because the scholars always said they like to hear rain on banana leaves. It would inspire the poetry or the creativity. So that's why we have banana palms in this particular courtyard. Isn't this amazing? I say this rock looks so, it looks like Disney.
Thank you very much. This dude.
This is 1 acre lake. We have 3 acres of our garden complete, and eventually when it is complete, it will be about 12 acres. So if you look up the size of the hills, that will be included in the final end of the Chinese garden, but that's going to be over a period of time. How this came to be is that one of our supporters here died, and in his will he left $10 million to build a Chinese garden. And his provisions was $5 million for construction and $5 million for maintenance. So that's how this all got started about 8 years ago. But I would just like to say, to date, we have spent $18 million here, and with the plans the way they're drawn, and at the completion, whenever it's completed, that means a lot of fundraisers. It will be about $80 million. 80. So, like you see these pavilions over here, what the future plans are. That pavilion will probably have little, you can see there's a resemblance, right? Yeah. So this is why I think this is what they were targeting. Now there is a restaurant in here that serves tea, and I think also like samplers, like a sampler platter or dim sum or dumplings or something if you want to. And then I